All right, in this video, we are going to cover one example of how to solve this degree 3 by factoring. And if you remember, we solve degree 3s using factoring by grouping, okay? So this here is going to be my first group, 2x cubed plus 8x squared. And then this one over here is going to be my second group. So that's why we call this factoring by grouping. We group these four terms into two groups. Okay, and then this first group, I'm going to use GCF, greatest common factor. They have 2 in common, and they also have x squared in common. So I'm going to factor out a 2 and an x squared. And then inside here, I'll get x plus 4. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over here with my second group. I'm going to look for what they have in common. They have -5 in common. So I'm going to factor out a -5, and I'll be left with x plus 4. And then when I compare the two groups now, they should have the same thing inside the parentheses, and they do. They both have x plus 4. Okay, so both groups have x plus 4. So I'm going to have that out here. It's like I'm factoring out the x plus 4. And then in here, we will have 2x squared. I get it from here, 2x squared, and then minus 5. Okay, 2x squared minus 5. And now that I have it factored, I can solve. So I can take this first factor, x plus 4, set it equal to 0. And then I can take the second factor, 2x squared minus 5 equals 0, and solve. Okay? So let's go ahead and solve this first one. So I have to subtract 4 on both sides to get the x by itself. And I get x equals -4. Over here, in the second factor, I have to add 5 to both sides. And then I get 2x squared equals 5. And then I have to divide both sides by 2 to get the x squared by itself. But I'm not quite done yet. I have to cancel out that square. And the way I cancel out that square is by taking the square root of both sides. When I do that, it cancels out the square. When I do that, I need positive and negative. Make sure you do positive and negative. Okay, and so that gives me these two answers, positive and negative square root 5 over 2. If you want to write it as one answer like this, positive, negative, you can. If you want to separate them, you can. You can write it as positive square root 5 over 2 and negative square root 5 over 2. Okay? But that's basically how you solve degree 3 using factoring by grouping. Okay? And again, it's degree 3, so you have your 3 solutions, 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And if you want to write it like this instead of 2 separate ones, that's fine too. All right, if you have any questions, make sure you ask me. Oh, one more thing. If it's not factorable by grouping, okay, so if it's not factorable by grouping, then you have to use synthetic division method, okay?